Okay.
Greetings to you wherever you are in Africa and around the world. Welcome to My Community and I, the podcast where we sit down with professionals from all walks of life to uncover how their work shapes and serves their communities. We explore not only the positive impact of their contributions, but also the consequences when their roles are neglected. It's honest, insightful, and inspiring because every profession matters and every action affects the world around us. Today, we are joined with Oluwaseun Adeniyi, a cultural heritage practitioner, connecting Africa's past and present through community engagement and digital preservation. From childhood visits to the National Museum in Lagos to being a founding member of the Museum of West African Arts, MOWAA, Seun's career reflects her passion for preserving African heritage. She began as the first curator of the Railway Museum under Legacy 1995, where she curated exhibitions, created educational programs, and transformed the museum into a lively community hub. Now working in both Nigeria and the UK, Seun provides advisory services in cultural management and hosts the African Heritage Nexus Podcast, spotlighting voices shaping African cultural heritage worldwide. Welcome with me, Seun Adeniyi. Hello,
Thank you very much.
Seun. Hi, how you
Hi.
doing?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for having me. Um,
Nice.
yeah.
It's a privilege to have you. Okay, so we've introduced you now,
Yeah.
and let's go straight into it. So, how did you come into this profession of cultural preservation?
Okay, so I would say, or I often say to people that this profession chose me. I did not choose it. Like he had said in your introduction, as a young girl growing up in Lagos, if I wanted to just hang out somewhere and relax and all of that, the first place that would come to mind is National Museum. If I had friends visiting from abroad or something at the time, that would be the first place I would go to. And I just found myself drawn to it. And somehow, I later also studied history and international studies. And then thereafter, my first, as you had said in your introduction, um, just before getting out of uni, I then joined the Legacy 1995 as a student volunteer and I became their first curator just after straight out of youth service. And I did that for about 3 years. Um, then studied, went abroad again to the UK to study responsible tourism management. And it was my work with Legacy that informed that decision
Mhm.
because every now and then there's always this story of how do we diversify the Nigerian economy, and tourism was always top on the list.
Mhm.
And some of the problems I had noticed, the challenges, barrier I had noticed in my work with Legacy was what informed me to get into to study responsible tourism management. And then
Okay.
thereafter, of course, as for my dissertation, I had done something around cultural heritage management and how you one should be a responsible cultural heritage manager. I got the tools and the skills for that, and that's how that journey has been for me. And
Okay.
like you said, I became a founding member of MOWAA, the Museum for West African Arts. So, to be honest, all of this experience has just lit that fire in me that's helped me see heritage as not just about the past, but about, connecting people in the present and just creating meaning for the future. So that's really how I've
Okay.
come. Yeah, I have landed into this profession.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so at in Save the Child, Save the Nation, we do career talks with young people, and the definition of career that we use is it's an expression of who I am in service to my community, where my community can be as small as my home and as big as the entire world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we tell the students that every occupation exists to solve a problem. So I want to understand what problem you are solving as a cultural heritage practitioner, and why is it important that we solve this problem?
Oh, that's a very good question. How do I start this? So the core problem that my work addresses is the disconnect of many people, particularly young people, the disconnect we have from our cultural identity, our
Mm,
history, our heritage. Um, and of course, the immediate reason for that is usually the colonial um story around, oh, colonialism, oh, he did this to us, he did that to us. But there are other reasons as well.
mhm,
Urbanization is also part of reasons why we've lost connection. Poor educational policies, just lack of access generally. If you ask people if their school did not take them to the museum, they won't just stand up to go to the museum, you
mhm,
see. And when you don't know, you don't know. You don't know
mm,
your past. How do you navigate your future? So many of us have grown up without truly knowing the stories that shaped us, that shaped
mm,
our communities, our culture, our tribes, our country, and all of that. And it matters a lot that we're that because culture grounds us. Culture grounds us. So when we know where we're coming from, we walk taller, we make better decisions, we value ourselves and we value others, you see. And solving this problem helps community reclaim ownership of their own stories because for a long time, history has told the story from one perspective. It's
mm.
told the narrative from the perspective of the hunter.
Mhm.
You get
Okay.
and what I do, what my work do, and everybody around me, because it's not just me or my perspective to what I do. Then the number of perspectives and number of solutions within the cultural heritage space. What we do is try to preserve endangered cultures, endangered traditions, and just reclaiming our narrative, defining who we are. Of course, there's some of this history that is lost and lost forever.
Mm,
However, how do we redefine it? How do we redefine it? And we're taking charge of that and participating in heritage as a living and evolving force. So, yes,
mm.
people will think of heritage and think just about the past, but it's actually living. What we're doing right now is history. You're recording it, it will go into the archive. Somebody else is going to pick it. People are going to listen to it. This is a living thing, it's an
Okay.
evolving force, not just something that will be locked away in some archive and be forgotten. So it's quite an important problem that we are solving. Let me use the word we.
Okay. Okay. I remember there was a time I worked with an organization called Foundation for Endangered Languages,
Mm.
and that was quite an interesting part. Anyway, this is not about me. So
Yeah.
so so now let's talk about you, the expression of yourself. In other
Mm.
words, what keeps you motivated to solve this problem? How do you express yourself in this while you serve
Mm.
in solving this problem?
Okay, so I express myself through this work by creating spaces where uh, people can encounter their own stories. So, um, for instance, museums. Um, whether it's a digitized artifact, whether it's an event, whether it's a learning module or interaction, or even just a conversation that is being sparked by an old photograph or an old item and all of that. And this work allows me to use creativity and empathy and then just critical thinking all at once. What keeps me going is just seeing how communities light up when they come in contact with things that they didn't know that reflects them in history in a dignified way. You
Mm,
see,
mm,
I like it when people. So, for instance, I remember I had hosted some very important person in the museum one time, and she's super busy because of the kind of office she was in. And this woman, by the time she had gone up and come down, as she was coming down the steps, she sighed so deeply and very relaxed. And she was like, "Oh, this is beautiful. I really love how I felt after this. I love the history, everything that I've learned, and I'm really happy about this. I'll recommend the museum." And that for me is for me was like, "Oof, I've done my job." You see,
mm,
so it's those small, powerful moments of recognition that just remind me that this is why we do what we do.
mm-hmm,
And of course, I just believe that God has also put this passion in me, and I see it as an act of stewardship to just tell the stories to people, connecting people and communities and memories that are bigger than any of us.
mm.
That's it for
That's
me.
lovely. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so now let's look at the communities you serve. Who are the
Mm.
people that you really serve? Who are the stakeholders in these communities?
Um, so on a practical level, my work primarily serves local communities, young people, students, educators, creatives, um, cul cultural custodians, whoever. My day to day at work, the people I would interact with, if I was um, doing anything, I would say institutions, NGOs,
Mm,
cultural NGOs. I also work with government bodies like the National Commissions for Museums and Monuments.
mm,
Um, I also work with diaspora and communities. So, like in the UK now, there's some organizations that are working with Nigerian organizations. So I kind of create some sort of networks. And any institution that is interested and invested in African heritage. But more importantly, I serve people that would not even know anything yet about heritage. You get
mm,
those
mm,
who just walk past the historic building daily, not knowing what the story is about. What we're doing or what I do day to day, like we're saying, what we're doing right here, some people are going to see it today, some people are going to see it 10 years time. We're
mm,
serving people that are coming 20 years time. We're serving
mm,
people that are coming 30 years time. So
mm,
I also represent people like that. People who also do not feel like museums are a place for them. I also
mm,
serve such people because it's not everybody that will come to the museum, even though we're trying to get people to come to the museum space. That's
mm,
one
mm,
other problem that we have within the cultural heritage space. I also serve those people, those and anybody whose memory is yet to be preserved, really.
mm,
So
mm.
yeah,
Okay.
those are my community.
Okay. Okay, so what is the negative impact of poor performance on these communities?
Uh, there are two that readily comes to mind. So from your previous question when you were talking about my communities, when I'm working with community, as we call it, community engagement, one of the things that can go wrong is when the community feel used rather than served. You know
Hmm.
how sometimes you do things and because culture is an asset of the people that own that culture.
Hmm.
Now, you
Hmm.
as a practitioner, if you're coming to sort of you're preparing a program and an event that needs the asset that that community have, if you approach it in such a way where you're just taking from them rather than getting them to be part of the planning and all of that,
Hmm.
it can create mistrust. You see,
Hmm.
it can go wrong if we're careless and just extractive. It's
Hmm.
the entire history can be lost because now people might not be open towards you,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
and all of that. So and things can be misrepresented and all of
Hmm.
that. Young people might become disgruntled and not want to connect to their roots.
Hmm.
It can cause disappointment and it deepens that erasure. People just don't want
Hmm.
to be associated with it and all of that. So that's one way that things can go wrong if the community doesn't trust you, if they
Hmm.
feel used and all of that. And another way, which is very dear to my heart, which I've started to really think about, is because of the prevalent economic um, issues that we have, people wonder, why should I even bother about this? Why should I preserve my environment? Why should I preserve my culture when I can make money this way? When I can
Hmm.
pull down this particular tradition, whether it's tangible or intangible, and make
Hmm.
money from it.
Hmm.
So this is one thing that is dear to me. You have to present value.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you're not bringing value to the table, communities might just not really
Okay.
um, engage with you and you would lose that you are likely to lose that asset as it were.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a huge responsibility. Our work must be thoughtful, it must be inclusive and ethically grounded. You're not going there to use people. You
Mm-hmm.
have to respect people's culture. There's a lot of respect that should be involved,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of trust. And we're not just preserving objects, we're also safeguarding identity. We're also
Mm.
safeguarding memory and his
Mm.
legacy as well. So
Mm.
these are a few of things that can go wrong if we don't get it right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so now what would you advise fellow practitioners in this space? What would you advise them to do in serving communities? I mean,
Okay.
you've answered a bit of it, but yeah, please
Yeah,
just this time
exactly.
it's a bit
Yeah.
more direct now.
Yeah. So I will want to reiterate that um have be genuine in your approach, be transparent, be accountable, be responsible when you're approaching communities.
Mm.
Um don't go there with the motive of just taking and taking and taking.
Mm.
I would urge us to listen more to communities, the elders, the young people.
Mm.
Have this, there's a skill to it in terms of because within a community, there are diverse interests.
Mm.
Everybody wants something.
Yeah.
You should build up your people skill such that you're able to identify those different interests
Mm.
and to some degree manage those interests for the betterment of that community.
Mm.
Just resist the urge to extract value without giving back. Make
Mm.
sure there's
Mm.
collaboration and
Mm.
consistency, really. Don't go
Mm.
back and forth and people don't understand what you're doing.
Mm.
That lack of trust. Then just generally in doing work itself, once you've gained the trust of that community, what you need to do, especially in this day and age, is be innovative, use technology wisely, you understand?
Mm. Mm.
Make sure that your whatever it is you're doing is accessible and relatable.
Okay.
Um, in that, when I say relatable, make sure that you're not all too academic and professional such that the layman does not know what you're doing or
Mm-hmm.
saying.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, some of these cultures or communities are not, some of us work with academic communities, right? Yes, when
Mm,
you're working with academic communities, it's fine. You're talking papers and research and all of that. However,
mm,
when you're talking to communities that hold this culture in their hands, then you know that it's a different language that you're speaking with them. You're not
mm.
speaking academic language. You're
Yeah.
speaking, you're
Layman's language.
exactly, because
Mm,
all
mm,
of that form how they will receive you and
and
trust
builds
you.
trust. Yes,
Exactly.
yes,
So it's
yes.
so it's beyond the academic and elitist style
Mm,
of engagement. And it
mm,
also
mm,
moves beyond these glass cases because most
mm.
times when people talk about museum, you're just thinking about those glass cases where items are put inside. No, no, no,
Mm-hmm,
no.
mm-hmm.
There are many other ways to do it. Technology is now very um is at its fingertips of everyone. Something as little as WhatsApp can help you communicate what you want to do to the man in the village. As long as the man can use that WhatsApp to communicate to his family abroad,
Mm,
then what's as simple as well, you have to be innovative to that point where you are able to move beyond all these glass cases and academic papers, and we move to formats that live in people's everyday lives. You
mm,
understand?
mm,
So
mm,
something like what you're doing now, a podcast, games for young people. We see it
mm.
in films. That's another thing Nollywood is doing that we really like, that I'm really proud of, where we're now watching movies around artifacts. We're talking about history and all that, virtual
Yes.
tours and all of that.
Mm,
So
mm.
that's what I would advise fellow practitioners to do,
Okay.
bringing it home, bringing it
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine you would need a lot of patience with trying to get into communities before you gain their trust,
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
you
there are a lot
so
of
it
people
means
skills that you need
mm,
for this job.
mm,
Yes.
mm, mm. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now how would you advise a young person who might be interested in preserving cultural heritage, who might be interested, or even get people to be interested in following this career path?
Okay, so again, like I said, culture is not just about the past. Culture is a way of life. So
Mm,
really, everything you're doing within your in your room, how you wake up, what you do. You know how we used to say, in my mom's house, this is how we used to do it. When you're explaining
mm-hmm,
to your friends,
mm,
that's culture already.
mm,
That's you doing something. So to every young person, I would say don't even wait until somebody gives you permission to start caring about your culture.
mm,
So culture in terms of language, culture in terms of what you eat, how you eat, what you cook, all of
mm-hmm,
those things. Explore it.
mm,
Ask your parents, ask your grandparents questions. Why do we do this like this? What's the
mm,
purpose of this? Sometimes I know that there was a generation that we didn't used to ask questions, but I
mm,
think we're gone past that now. People are asking questions now. So ask questions, visit your local museum, visit visit places that hold or archives. You can visit archives and all of that and see what's there. Document the story around you actually by using your phone.
mm,
It's now it's really basic now. You can use your phone, volunteer in your community,
mm,
and like I said, it's not just about the past, it's about building a sense of self. You understand? And that
mm,
identity really is your superpower. This is who I am.
mm, mm,
And all of these stories that you've been building is what builds that thing within you. And so whether you become a curator, whether you become a filmmaker, whether you become a doctor, you become a teacher, it doesn't matter what you become. Your understanding of your roots will strengthen that what you everything that you do. It would not matter the sort of um, um, occupation that you find yourself. So because some people are now might be wondering, how do I become a cultural heritage practitioner? Now that's just
Mm,
a title, but you
mm.
can actually do that even as a doctor. You
Okay.
understand?
Okay.
You can do that as a doctor, you can do that as a teacher, you can do it, but if you don't understand your roots, if you don't understand the reason, the history behind that particular profession that you have started, you are likely not to know how to move forward with it. So, first of all, whatever profession you've decided to take, find out
Mm,
the history of it. How was it practiced before science, that as we know it? Because science has always been in existence, to be honest.
yeah.
Science is not a new phenomenon. Yes, you
Mm,
now have test tubes and all of that, but we as Africans, we had science before. Find
mm,
out how we practice our science
mm,
and how all of these things, and then start to infuse that into your work and all of that. But
mm,
for now, as you go along, it might not be clear, but just keep documenting. Just document with your phone. Keep documenting.
mm,
Yeah,
mm. Okay.
that's
Okay.
that's all I have for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. This has been a really exciting ride. I don't know if you have any other general like uh, any last words that you'd like to
Okay.
share with us.
So really, because your like you said, this is a career development platform.
Mm,
What I would say as my last word to anybody is just pay attention to what vocation makes you happy now. What are you doing now that makes you happy? What's that thing that you're doing now as a young person that just brings is the first thing that comes to mind. If you want to
mm,
feel happy, this is what I do.
mm,
When I'm angry and I want to pipe down, what do I do? What comes to how
mm,
is it
mm,
singing that makes it do I feel happy when I sing? Do I do this? What do I
mm,
do to when I want to appreciate people? What do I do to appreciate them?
mm,
Those things they add up,
mm, mm, mm.
somehow they
Yeah,
add
sure.
up. So I want you to pay attention to that vocation that makes you happy now
Mm,
and begin to build your skills around that thing and
mm,
form
mm.
your career. And remember, it's not about a title or a theme. It's not about, oh, it doesn't matter. Just there's something in your hand, express it.
Mm,
And then you
mm,
can
mm.
form your title as you go along,
As
to
you
be
go
honest.
along. Sure,
Don't say
sure.
I want to be a cultural heritage practitioner. No, you can be any other thing. Don't say I want to be a doctor. You can form your own title.
Mm,
So
mm, mm,
that's
nice.
my
So
advice.
just sorry, just one more question because
Yes,
it's very few people, possibly few people I've met who's a curator, right?
yes, yes,
I mean, if a child tells a parent, I want to be a curator, I mean, so
yeah.
what do you advise parents? Because this is, as we have seen, it's very important,
Mm,
for us. I don't even know how many museums
mm,
we have in Nigeria.
mm,
Uh, and I think we need more, and we need more
mm,
schools to go to
mm,
places like that, to teach children, or as you said, virtual tours. But then,
mm.
how do you also talk to parents? Because sometimes children will only pick career paths that their parents allow them to go into, you know.
Okay. Wow. I know. Honestly, when it comes to parents and children, is a tough one.
Mm.
Um. Yeah. So, would you like me to speak to the parents or the students?
Speak to the parents first, please.
So, speaking to the parents, again, from my last words, look at the vocation that makes your child happy. It makes sense that you want them to do a profession that whether uh when the economy is bad, they'll be able to pay their bills. But knowing now what we now know that those professions necessarily do not. And we're in the technological age now where AI is even taking those professions away now. So I'm hoping that parents come to that realization that nothing is permanent. Yes, there was
Mm,
a time we used to think that being a banker was a big deal. Right now, banks are shutting down. Everything is happening on the phone.
mm,
Being an
mm,
accountant now, there are softwares that are doing our basic bookkeeping. I don't need somebody to come and do my assets and liabilities. You see?
mm,
So
mm,
I'm hoping that parents would open their minds up to the possibility, particularly because technology has gone so far. There's so much that one can achieve with
mm,
technology. Who would have known that governments could have run from just working from home?
mm, mhm,
And see people now developing businesses within the four walls of their room.
mm,
You see? So I'm hoping that parents will be open-minded, paying attention to the vocation they see their child doing at home, from
mm.
their baby steps all the way. Don't be blinded. But again, this is just an admonishment. Parents will do what they have to do.
Yes.
For the kids, if you're lucky enough, you have liberal parents like myself. I'm also grateful to my parents for that liberal space that I had. It gave me that uh, space to be able to fall into this career path.
Mm,
Um, and for you, if you're lucky enough like that, then follow that path. Don't be peer pressured. Don't
mm,
don't be my friend is doing that, my friend is doing that. No, no, no.
mm,
Do what you know makes you happy. Pursue it. Gain the required skill for that business or vocation that you want to do, and do it well. You
mm,
understand? And once you do it well, when there's excellence to it, when you're not being um when you're grateful for it, there's a different approach to it. And people then appreciate when you value it, people will value it with you.
mm,
It's the value
mm,
you place on your handwork that people will
mm.
place for you.
Yeah,
Otherwise, if you don't
sure.
place value on you or what you're doing on your vocation, people will be like, yeah, you
Yeah,
get.
yeah,
So,
sure.
um, when we're now talking about, you had mentioned curator and all of that. Sometimes when you find something as a student or a child, you find something and you say, I really like this thing. Educate your parents about it. They might never had the opportunity to come across that. You
Mm,
show them, oh, this is what I want to do. Again, for example, curator. What's a curator? It's just someone who keeps a custodian of collections. Now, it might not
mm,
be necessarily a museum because in our house we have collections. Some
mhm,
people have
mhm,
collections of shoes, of
mm,
bags, and you
mm,
put them, there's a way you design them, the way your wardrobe is. Some of us are already interior decorators. You
mm,
understand?
mm,
And you're a collector of stamps, you're a collector of uh, what can I say? Those bottle head counters. I don't know whether they
mhm,
still do bottle things. All those things. And then you now see that your life is going that way. And again, because of technology, we have access to this information. Share that information with your parents. Show them people who have succeeded in it, how this thing can take you far. Because
mm.
if you remember with football, the reason why people put their children in football, if they had the opportunity, if they have the opportunity, it's because they've seen people succeed at it and they saw
Yes.
the economic value. So what
Mm-hmm.
you do as a child is when you've seen something, right? You do your studies and share it with your parents to say, okay, education is important to your father and your mother, right? Okay, how do I do this so that they don't feel like I'm a dropout or anything like this? You can
Mm.
now show them how to, okay, I will do this course, I will do that course, I will do this course, and it will take me here. And I will not be called uneducated amongst your friends. Because
Yeah,
sometimes,
sure.
again, it's a thing of status. So if you're able to solve that problem, get what you want to do, know that vocation, know the career path or whatever parts, educational parts that you need to take to attain that, and then share that with your parents to say, see, this is what I think I want to do, and if I'm able to do this, do this, do this, I'll be good at it.
Yeah,
Look at
sure.
people who have succeeded at it, and I think it helps. It breaks that barrier,
Yeah,
and
sure.
that would be my advice for any young person.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And with that, we've come to the end of the podcast. I'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you, dear listeners. And let's all make up our minds to do the right thing at the right time so as to achieve the right results. Thank you.
Thank you, Femi, for having me.
Yeah.
Bye.